The streets of Atlanta are buzzing, and the love and hip-hop universe has been shaken to its very core because word on the street is that Kirk Frost, Mr. I'm in control, has been keeping a massive secret from everyone, including his wife Rasheeda, and not just any secret. We're talking about a hidden bank account, allegedly stacked with more cash than most of us will see in a lifetime. But here's where the plot twists so hard it leaves your jaw on the floor. Rasheeda's lawyer just swooped in and seized it. Yes, you heard that right. No warning, no private conversation. Just bam. Gone. And now, the Frost household is in absolute chaos. Sources say Rasheeda found out during what was supposed to be a routine financial meeting, and when the receipts hit the table, the mood in the room went from calm to nuclear. One insider claims she stared at Kirk for a full 30 seconds in complete silence before saying, "You've been hiding money from me." And apparently, that was just the beginning. Fans are shocked, friends are taking sides, and the whole Frost empire might be on the verge of crumbling because this isn't just about money. This is about trust, betrayal, and a marriage that's been through scandal after scandal. Now teetering on the edge once again. And if you thought the cheating rumors were bad, just wait until you hear why Kirk was allegedly stashing that cash. The room was thick with tension, the kind of tension you could slice with a knife. Rasheeda sat across the polished oak table, her manicured fingers drumming slowly, deliberately, as she stared at the man she had built an empire with. Kirk avoided her gaze, fiddling with the corner of a folder that had been left in the center of the table, the folder that had detonated the bomb on their marriage for the second, maybe even the third time. The lawyer, a tall woman in a sharp charcoal suit named Denise Grant, had slid it forward just 15 minutes earlier, flipping it open to reveal a series of bank statements that looked nothing like the shared accounts Rasheeda thought she knew about. These were different offshore entries, large deposits, withdrawals that matched no household expenses, and a running balance that could have bought her a brand new boutique in Buckhead without touching their main savings. Rasheeda's voice, when it finally broke the silence, was low, almost eerily calm. "You mean to tell me? You've been sitting here for years, smiling in my face, while you've been stashing away hundreds of thousands in some secret account." The words dripped with disbelief and hurt, but underneath it all was a simmering anger that threatened to boil over. Kirk opened his mouth, but before he could speak, Denise cut in, her tone flat and final. "Mrs. Frost, as per your request, those funds have been frozen pending further review. The account is under legal hold." That was when Kirk's eyes finally snapped up to meet Rasheeda's, wide and blazing with indignation. "You did what?" he hissed, leaning forward like he couldn't believe the audacity. "You had my account frozen." Rasheeda didn't flinch. She leaned back in her chair, crossing her arms in that way that said she'd already decided where she stood. "It wasn't your account, Kirk. Not if you built it with money we earned together. Not if you kept it from me." Her voice rose slightly, shaking now, but not from fear, from the kind of betrayal that sinks into your bones. Kirk's jaw flexed, his nostrils flaring. "You don't even know what that money was for," he shot back. "You don't know why I kept it separate." And there it was, the statement that made the air in the room shift. Because for a split second, Rasheeda's expression faltered, not because she believed him, but because the possibility that there was an explanation, even a bad one, was now hanging in the space between them like a dangling knife. "Then enlighten me," she said coldly. "Because right now, it looks like you've been playing me for a fool." Denise, sensing the storm about to explode, quietly began gathering her papers, but not before adding one more dagger into the conversation. "For the record, Mrs. Frost, the withdrawals from this account match certain transactions flagged by our investigator purchases that were made without any connection to your shared businesses." That's when Rasheeda's phone started blowing up. Text after text, her friends, and even a couple of castmates from Love and Hip Hop ATL were sending links, screenshots, and even shady Instagram captions from gossip blogs that had already gotten wind of the news. Someone in the Frost circle had clearly spilled the tea, because hashtags like #Kirk got caught and #HiddenMoneyFrost were trending. The betrayal wasn't just private anymore, it was playing out for the whole world to see. "Oh, so now this is public?" Rasheeda snapped, glaring at Kirk. "Who you been running your mouth to?" Kirk slammed a hand on the table. "Me, you think I leaked this? You think I want people up in our business?" His voice cracked slightly, betraying a hint of desperation, but Rasheeda wasn't buying it. The door to the meeting room opened, abruptly, and in walked Jasmine. Yes, That Jasmine, the woman who had been at the center of Kirk's cheating scandal years earlier. The tension in the air tripled instantly. Denise's eyes flickered in confusion, but Rasheeda's were locked on Kirk with a glare so sharp it could cut glass. "Why is she here?" Rasheeda demanded. Jasmine looked equally uncomfortable but determined. "Because Rasheeda, I think I know where some of that money went." And just like that, the temperature in the room seemed to drop. Kirk shifted in his chair, visibly rattled now. "Don't start, Jasmine," he muttered through clenched teeth, but it was too late. Jasmine stepped forward, pulling her own manila envelope from her bag and dropping it onto the table. "I got receipts too," she said, her voice steady but her hands trembling slightly. "Trips, hotels, cash transfers, all matching the dates on that account. And if you connect the dots, you're gonna see this wasn't just about some side business or some investment Kirk didn't tell you about." Rasheeda's eyes narrowed, her lips pressed into a thin line. She didn't want to hear it, not from Jasmine, not from anyone, but something in her gut told her she needed to know the full story. Kirk tried to stand up, but Rasheeda's voice froze him in place. "Sit down." It wasn't loud, but it had the kind of weight that could crush a man's will. Slowly, reluctantly, he sank back into his seat, his shoulders tense, his gaze locked on the table. Jasmine began sliding papers across to Denise, who quickly glanced over them before passing them to Rasheeda. And there it was, flight confirmations to Miami, wire transfers to a luxury apartment lease in Buckhead under a management company that didn't exist, and receipts from boutiques that were nowhere near the Frost family's usual shopping spots. The air was so heavy that even Jasmine seemed to hesitate before speaking again. "Look, I'm not here to make this mess worse," she said softly, glancing between them. "But if you're trying to understand where that money went, you need to face the fact that it wasn't all business." Kirk's head snapped up. "That's a damn lie," he barked, his voice echoing in the small room. "You don't know what you're talking about?" But his defensiveness only made Rasheeda lean back, studying him with a look that was half heartbreak, half recognition, like she was finally seeing the pattern she'd been denying for too long. And just as Kirk opened his mouth to explain, or maybe defend himself, Denise's phone buzzed with a call she couldn't ignore. She excused herself, stepping into the hall, but within seconds, the muffled sound of her voice turned into something urgent, and she burst back into the room, eyes wide. "We have a problem," she said, her tone clipped. "Another account just surfaced and this one's got even more money in it?" Rasheeda froze, her breath catching in her throat as the words sank in. Another account. More money. The shock rippled across her face, but just beneath it was a wave of fury building fast. Kirk's eyes darted to Denise, like a man watching a train barreling toward him, desperate for any way to jump off the tracks. "What do you mean another account?" Rasheeda asked, her voice low and sharp, like a knife's edge. Denise set her phone down on the table, her hands still wrapped tightly around it. "My investigator just confirmed there's an additional account in your husband's name, linked to a shell company called Frost Management Group. The deposits are larger, more recent, and the balance." She paused, glancing between them. "Let's just say it's well over $500,000. The room went silent. Even Jasmine, who had walked in ready to drop her own bombs, seemed stunned. Rasheeda's lips parted, slightly, but no words came out. She blinked slowly, processing the number. $500,000. Hidden while she'd been grinding, hustling, filming, raising kids, building stores. Kirk had been stashing away enough money to change their lives twice over. $500,000, she finally repeated, her voice breaking on the last word. "And you were just sitting on it, watching me fight to keep our businesses afloat after COVID. Watching me sell my own jewelry to keep staff paid." Kirk raised his hands defensively, his voice cracking as he tried to cut in. "Rasheeda, it's not what it looks like. It's not what it No," she snapped, her palm slamming against the table so hard that the sound echoed through the room. "It's exactly what it looks like. You've been hoarding money like a squirrel in winter while your wife was out here drowning." Kirk's mouth opened, then closed. He looked like he wanted to speak, but the weight of the accusations and the eyes on him kept him frozen. Jasmine leaned forward, her tone sharp. "Tell her about the condo." Kirk's eyes flashed, panic flickering for just a moment before he masked it. "Don't," he warned, his voice low and dangerous. But Jasmine didn't back down. "Tell her how you've been funneling money into that high-rise in Midtown. The one you keep saying is for business clients when it's really your little getaway spot." Rasheeda's head snapped toward Kirk, her eyes narrowing into slits. Is she lying? The silence that followed was deafening. Kirk swallowed hard, his Adam's apple bobbing. Finally, he muttered, "It's complicated." That was the wrong answer. Rasheeda shot up from her chair, her hands planted on the table as she leaned in toward him. "No, Kirk. Complicated is trying to run 3 businesses and raise a family, while filming a reality show. This," she jabbed a finger toward the bank statements. "This is betrayal." Denise cleared her throat softly. "Mrs. Frost, I recommend we move quickly. If there's more money hidden, we need to trace it before it disappears." Kirk scoffed, leaning back in his chair. "Y'all acting like I'm some kind of criminal. This is my money." Rasheeda let out a bitter laugh, shaking her head. "Our money, Kirk. Our blood, sweat, and tears. You just decided to keep the best parts for yourself." Her voice cracked again, and she quickly turned away, blinking back tears. The sound of her phone buzzing pulled her out of the moment. She glanced down to see a flood of DMs from fans and followers, some offering support, others throwing shade, and a few claiming they'd seen Kirk out with mystery women in Buckhead and Midtown. The comments were brutal. "He's been playing you for years. Rasheeda deserves better. Girl, take him for everything he's worth." She felt her stomach twist. This wasn't just her private heartbreak anymore. This was going to be everyone's entertainment. Kirk seemed to realize it too, because his voice softened, almost pleading. "Babe, can we just talk about this? Just me and you. No lawyers, no cameras, no her," he said, gesturing toward Jasmine. But Rasheeda shook her head slowly. "No, you made this a public mess when you decided to hide our money. You don't get to clean it up in private." Her phone buzzed again, but this time, it wasn't just a DM. It was a notification from one of the biggest gossip blogs in Atlanta, and the headline made her blood run cold. Exclusive. Kirk Frost's secret fortune linked to alleged side investments in Miami and Vegas nightlife scene. Jasmine's eyes widened. "Vegas?" she asked, her voice tinged with disbelief. "You didn't tell me about Vegas." Rasheeda swung her gaze back to Kirk, who was now visibly sweating. "Vegas, Kirk, really?" His silence said more than any words could. Denise leaned in, her voice calm but firm. "Mrs. Frost, if this is true, we may be looking at multiple accounts, potentially in different states. The seizure of funds could extend beyond what we've already done." Rasheeda pressed her fingertips to her temples, trying to steady her breathing. Every new revelation felt like another blow to the gut. She could see the life they had built together, the stores, the shows, the music, and now it all felt like it had been balanced on a foundation of lies. She thought back to the nights she'd stayed up late with Kirk, planning their future, trusting his word when he said they were solid. How many of those nights had he been smiling to her face while wiring money into accounts she'd never even heard of? Kirk finally broke the silence, his voice low and shaky. "I did it to protect us." Rasheeda let out a sharp, humorless laugh. "Protect us? From what? Each other?" He looked down, unable to meet her eyes. "From losing everything. From the network. From taxes. From people coming after us." Jasmine rolled her eyes. "Or maybe you just didn't want to share, Kirk." Before anyone could respond, Denise's phone buzzed again. She checked the screen, her brows furrowing. This is bigger than I thought," she said, her voice dropping. "We just traced a wire from that second account to an offshore account in the Cayman Islands." Rasheeda's head snapped up, her heart pounding in her ears. "Cayman Islands?" she repeated slowly, like she was tasting the words. Kirk closed his eyes, exhaling slowly, like the fight had just gone out of him. But Rasheeda wasn't done. "You better start talking, Kirk, and you better tell me everything, because if you think I'm walking away from this without knowing every last detail, you've lost your damn mind." And right there, as the weight of his lies hung between them, Kirk finally lifted his head and began to speak. Kirk's voice was low at first, like he was trying to control the damage before it spiraled any further. "Look, the Cayman account. It started years ago. Before the boutiques, before the restaurant. Back when we were just barely keeping up with bills and the label was barely making money." His eyes flicked to Rasheeda, searching for any sign of softening, but her face was carved in stone. "I thought if I could put something away from taxes, away from lawsuits, away from the kind of drama we're in right now, it could be a safety net." Rasheeda let out a dry, humorless laugh. "A safety net? Kirk, a safety net is a couple thousand in savings. Not $500,000 and a high-rise condo." Not bank accounts in the damn Cayman Islands. That's not protection. That's planning. An escape. Her voice was shaking now, but it wasn't from Sadducit, was from the fire building in her chest. Jasmine crossed her arms, her tone dripping with venom. You really expect her to believe you were playing Robin Hood for the family? Come on, Kirk. I've seen some of those withdrawals. You weren't just protecting assets, you were spending them. Lavishly. Rasheeda's head snapped toward Jasmine. Lavishly, what do you mean? Jasmine didn't even hesitate. Trips to Dubai, private parties in Vegas. Jewelry for people who weren't you, Rasheeda. And let's not forget that little yacht weekend in Miami. The color drained from Rasheeda's face. She remembered the Miami weekend vividly, not because she'd been there, but because Kirk had told her he was on a business retreat with potential investors. The memory hit her like a punch in the stomach. That weekend, she whispered, her voice trembling, the one you said was about locking down a deal for the store expansion. Kirk swallowed hard. It was partially true. Rasheeda's hands slammed down on the table so hard that even Denise flinched. Partially true. You lying, son of Denise quickly interjected, her voice steady but urgent. Mrs. Frost, I understand your anger, but we need to stay focused. The Cayman account is under investigation now, but if there's movement in or out, we have to act immediately to freeze it as well. Kirk's head snapped toward her. You can't just, oh, I can. Denise interrupted, her voice like ice. Especially when my client's marital assets have been hidden without disclosure. The tension was thick enough to choke on. Rasheeda stared at Kirk like she didn't even recognize him anymore. You've been out here smiling in my face, filming with me, talking about we're in this together. While you've been building a whole separate empire behind my back. Do you have any idea how that makes me look? How it makes us look? Kirk tried to lean forward, but she leaned back, creating as much physical space as possible between them. It wasn't about appearances, he muttered. It was about survival. Survival. She repeated, her voice rising again. You've turned survival into yachts, condos, and God knows what else in the Caymans. Don't insult me by pretending this was all for the family. Jasmine smirked, clearly enjoying watching Kirk squirm. And we haven't even gotten to the third account yet. Rasheeda's head whipped around, her eyes wide. Third account. Denise looked up from her phone, her lips pressing into a thin line. I was going to wait until after this meeting to confirm, but yes, there's another account. Domestic this time, but under an entirely different name. It's registered to a Kevin Fields. Kirk's jaw tightened, his eyes narrowing. I knew you'd find that one eventually. Rasheeda blinked slowly. Kevin Fields. Who the hell is Kevin Fields? Kirk exhaled slowly, rubbing a hand over his face. It's me. An alias I used when I first started putting money aside. Back when we were dealing with the IRS issues, years ago. Rasheeda shook her head in disbelief. An alias? You mean a fake? You mean a name? My own husband has been running around using a fake identity to hide money. Her voice cracked, and for the first time, she felt something deeper than anger. She felt humiliation. The thought of fans, friends, even castmates finding out about Kevin Fields made her stomach turn. Denise leaned in, her voice calm but carrying weight. Mrs. Frost, this third account has regular payments going out every month, significant ones. We're talking thousands, and the recipient isn't a business, it's an individual. Jasmine's eyes lit up with curiosity, and I bet I can guess who. Rasheeda's voice was barely above a whisper now. Who? Denise hesitated, glancing at Kirk. His jaw clenched so tightly it looked like it might crack. Finally, Denise answered, the payments are going to a woman in Los Angeles. Name redacted for now, but she's connected to the entertainment industry. The silence was deafening. Rasheeda felt her world tilt, every piece of trust she'd rebuilt with Kirk over the years shattering into dust. You've been funding another woman's life, she said slowly. Her eyes locked on him. Kirk's hands shot up. It's not what you think, it's exactly what I think, she exploded, her voice echoing through the room. And you've been lying to me for years to keep it going. The lawyer's phone buzzed again, and she stepped out for a moment, leaving the three of them in the thick, suffocating tension. Jasmine leaned forward, her eyes locked on Kirk. You better tell her the rest before Denise comes back. Because once it's in legal documents, there's no going back. Rasheeda crossed her arms, her eyes never leaving his. Go ahead, Kirk. Tell me how deep this rabbit hole goes. Kirk took a deep breath, his gaze dropping to the table. If I tell you everything, you're gonna walk. Rasheeda's voice was like ice. You should have thought about that before you started living a double life. And just as Kirk opened his mouth to spill the rest, Denise came back into the room, her expression more serious than ever. We have a much bigger problem now, she said, closing the door behind her. The woman in Los Angeles, she's just filed a claim, saying she's pregnant with your child. The words hit like a thunderclap. For a full 10 seconds, no one spoke, no one moved. It was as if time itself had frozen. Rasheeda's eyes widened in slow motion, the color draining from her face as the weight of Denise's statement crashed over her. Pregnant, she repeated, her voice trembling but laced with a dangerous sharpness. Did she just say, pregnant? Kirk didn't answer right away. His mouth opened, then closed, then opened again like a man who'd just been punched and couldn't catch his breath. It's not what you don't. Rasheeda barked, the word cutting through the air like a whip. Her chair scraped back violently as she stood, the force of her movement rattling the table. Don't you dare finish that sentence with some tired-ass excuse I've heard before. We've been down this road, Kirk. We've been here. And I swore I would never let you put me through this again. Jasmine leaned back in her chair, folding her arms with a smirk that was equal parts satisfaction and pity. You, déjà vu. Huh? She murmured, just loud enough for everyone to hear. Rasheeda's head snapped toward her, her eyes blazing. You shut your mouth. This is not your moment. Jasmine raised her hands in mock surrender, but the smirk never left her face. Denise cleared her throat, her voice steady but tense. Mrs. Frost, the claim hasn't been verified yet, but the timing lines up with several of the payments from the Kevin Fields account. If this woman is telling the truth, we could be looking at a serious financial and legal situation. Rasheeda stared at her lawyer, trying to steady her, breathing. The room felt smaller by the second, the walls closing in. Every betrayal, every lie, every late-night argument about trust now replayed in her mind like some cruel highlight reel. Kirk finally found his voice, but it was shaky, almost pleading. Rasheeda, I swear to you, I don't even know if it's mine. I never, she cut him off with a sharp, bitter laugh. Don't even try it. You don't know. You don't know. You've been sending this woman thousands every month, and you don't know if the baby's yours. She took a step closer, her voice dropping into a low, dangerous register. You must think I'm stupid. For a moment, it looked like Kirk might explode, but instead, his shoulders slumped, the fight draining out of him. I was trying to handle it quietly, he said. I didn't want it to blow back on you, on the family, on the brand. Rasheeda's hand shot up, silencing him. Don't you dare put this on me. This isn't about the brand, Kirk. This is about you making choices, over and over, that put me last. You've been living 2, maybe 3 lives while expecting me to smile for the cameras like everything's fine. Denise, ever the professional, leaned forward. Mrs. Frost, my advice. We initiate a full forensic audit, every account, every transaction, every asset he's touched in the last 10 years. If there's more, we'll find it. Kirk's eyes widened. You're not gonna bleed me dry over a rumor. Rasheeda turned to him slowly, her expression icy. Bleed you dry? You already bled this marriage dry. The silence that followed was suffocating. Even Jasmine, who had been ready to gloat from the moment she walked in, seemed to sense that the situation had shifted from petty reality TV drama into something far more devastating. She stood, gathering her envelope of receipts. I've said what I came here to say, she murmured. The rest is between y'all. And maybe a judge. She slipped out quietly, leaving the 3 of them in the wreckage. Rasheeda didn't sit back down. She couldn't. Her body was vibrating with adrenaline, her heart pounding so hard it felt like it might burst. You know what's crazy, Kirk, she said finally, her voice eerily calm. I was willing to fight for us. After everything, every headline, every side chick story, every tear I've cried on and off camera, I was still ready to fight. But you've been fighting for yourself this whole time. You've been fighting to protect your secrets instead of your wife. Kirk looked up at her, his eyes wet but defiant. I never stopped loving you. She shook her head slowly. You stopped respecting me. And once that's gone, love don't mean a thing. Denise gathered her papers, sliding them into her briefcase. Mrs. Frost, I'll have the paperwork ready by tomorrow morning. We'll move on the accounts immediately. She turned to Kirk, her tone clipped. And I strongly suggest you cooperate, because if you don't, this will get a whole lot uglier. Kirk didn't answer. He just sat there, staring at the table, his hands clasped tightly as if holding on to something that had already slipped through his fingers. Rasheeda took one last look at him, her eyes softening for just a moment before hardening again. "We're done here," she said, and without another word, she walked out, her heels clicking sharply against the floor. The door closed behind her with a heavy, final thud, leaving Kirk alone in the silence he had created, surrounded by bank statements, betrayal, and the faint echo of the woman he might have just lost for good. As soon as Rasheeda stepped out into the hallway, the hum of the city outside the law office hit her like a wave horns blaring. People rushing past, life moving on as if her entire world hadn't just been ripped apart. She leaned against the cool marble wall, closing her eyes for a moment, fighting to keep the tears from spilling. Her phone buzzed in her purse. She pulled it out and saw the flood of notifications, texts from family members, calls from unknown numbers, and social media already ablaze with rumors. She didn't have to click on anything to know what they were saying. Kirk's secret baby. Kirk's offshore account. Rasheeda blindsided. It was already spreading faster than she could contain it. Inside the office, Kirk stayed frozen in his seat, staring at the grain of the wood table like it could offer answers. Denise began packing up her files, her tone clipped but almost pitying. "I've seen a lot of couples in my line of work," she said quietly, not looking at him. "Most of them fight over money. But the ones who don't make it, they fight over trust. And once that's gone, that's gone." Kirk finally looked up, his jaw working as if he wanted to argue, but no words came out. The weight of the last hour was crushing him, and for the first time, he realized there was no smooth talking his way out of this. Down in the street, Rasheeda climbed into a waiting SUV. Her driver glanced at her through the rearview mirror. Sensing her mood but knowing better than to speak, she sat in silence, watching the skyline blur past, her mind a chaotic storm of betrayal, humiliation, and somewhere, deep beneath all of that heartbreak, her phone buzzed again. This time, it was a text from an unknown number. She hesitated, then opened it. The message was short but devastating. "He told me he'd leave you. I didn't know about the others." Attached was a blurry photo Kirk on a balcony, shirtless, his arm draped around a woman who was clearly the one from Los Angeles. The timestamp was just 2 months ago. Her breath caught in her throat, but she didn't reply. Instead, she forwarded it to Denise with a single message. "Use this." Back upstairs, Kirk's phone buzzed too. He picked it up, expecting some lawyer's email or bank alert, but instead found a message from an old friend in the industry. "Bro, TMZ just called me. They're running with the story tonight." His heart sank. The walls he'd built over the years, the hidden accounts, the aliases, the secret trips, they were all collapsing. And soon, the whole world would be watching. By the time Rasheeda's SUV pulled into her driveway, there were already 2 camera vans parked discreetly down the street. She didn't look at them. She didn't even glance toward the house. She just walked straight to the front door. Her back straight, her chin lifted. Inside, her teenage son was sitting on the couch, phone in hand, eyes wide. "Mom, is it true?" he asked hesitantly. She froze for a second, her heart breaking all over again, not for herself this time, but for him. "Go upstairs. Baby," she said softly. "I'll talk to you later." He obeyed, but the question lingered in the air like smoke. Rasheeda sank into the nearest chair, burying her face in her hands. The brand, the marriage, the family, it all felt like it was dangling by a thread. And somewhere in Los Angeles, the woman with the alleged pregnancy sat in her apartment, scrolling through her own phone, watching the chaos unfold. She smirked as she tapped out a message to a gossip blogger. "You think this is messy now? Wait until you hear the rest." The stage was set for the next chapter, and if fans thought this was the end, they hadn't seen anything yet. Rasheeda sat in the dim light of the living room, her fingers tracing the edge of the coffee table without really seeing it. The weight of the photo she'd just sent to Denise was still heavy on her chest, like a brick she couldn't set down. Outside, the faint hum of the news vans was joined by the occasional click of a camera. They were patient. They knew she'd have to face the public eventually. Her phone buzzed again. This time, it was not a message, but a call from her best friend, Candy. She hesitated for a moment, then answered. "Girl, what in the hell is going on?" Candy's voice was a mix of concern and disbelief. "I just got off the phone with somebody who swears they saw Kirk at that rooftop bar in LA with a girl who couldn't stop rubbing her belly." Rasheeda's laugh was hollow. "Oh, they saw, right? And guess who's paying for her lifestyle? The same man who couldn't bother to pay our property taxes on time last year. Candy let out a long, slow whistle. Chili, you need to go nuclear. This ain't the time to be cute. He's been playing with your name, your money, and your peace. And that's 3 things a Frost don't forgive. I'm all ready. There, Rasheeda said quietly, her voice trembling with the effort of keeping her anger controlled. Denise is pulling everything. If he thought the bank account was hidden, he's about to find out. I've got better eyes than the IRS. Upstairs, the sound of a door closing caught her attention. Her son had probably retreated into his room, headphones on, pretending the outside world didn't exist. For a moment, she envied him. But she knew that in the age of social media, the truth, or at least the viral version of it, would find him across town. Kirk was finally leaving the law office, moving like a man walking through a storm. His phone rang again. This time, it was Scrappy. Man, what you done got yourself into now? The group chat is lit, bro. And I ain't even gonna lie, it's bad. I don't need everybody in my business. Kirk snapped, but his voice was tired. Like a man who had been swinging in a fight for hours and was just now realizing the other side had more stamina. You in love and hip-hop, fool. Your business is everybody's business? Scrappy replied. You better say something before she puts the whole truth out there, 'cause right now, she winning the narrative. Kirk didn't answer. He knew Scrappy was right, but what could he say that wouldn't make him look worse? His car pulled up to his house, but he didn't get out right away. Instead, he sat in the driver's seat, staring at his own reflection in the dark window. For the first time, he wasn't sure if the Frost name could survive another scandal. Meanwhile, back at Rasheeda's, her phone rang again. This time it was her mother, Ms. Charlene. I just want you to know, Charlene started, her voice as sharp as ever. I told you about that man years ago, but you didn't want to listen. Ma, I really don't need this right now. No, you do need this. Charlene cut in. Because when a man hides money, he's hiding more than that. And now look, everybody in Atlanta knows your business. But you better keep your head up, because this family name is bigger than Kirk Frost's lies. The call ended, leaving Rasheeda with a strange mix of comfort and frustration. Her mother was blunt, but she wasn't wrong. And maybe that was why Rasheeda had already started thinking not about how to survive this, but how to control the ending. She stood up, went to her closet, and pulled out a box from the top shelf, a box labeled Plan B. Inside were documents, spare keys, backup drives, and a list of media contacts she'd kept for emergencies. She had never thought she'd actually use it. But tonight, she would. Across town, Kirk finally stepped into his empty house. He tossed his jacket on the couch and headed to the kitchen for a drink, but before he could pour, his phone lit up with a new notification and Instagram post from Rasheeda. It was the blurry balcony photo. The caption read, "Trust is earned, and once it's broken, it can't be bought back, not even with a hidden bank account." Within seconds, the comments section was a firestorm. Fans were tagging each other, celebrities were dropping cryptic emojis, and bloggers were already reposting it with captions like "Rasheeda exposes Kirk, and the Frost marriage is done." Kirk stared at the screen, feeling the ground shift beneath him. This wasn't just a private fight anymore. This was a public war. And in public wars, the person who controls the story controls the legacy. What he didn't know, what no one knew, was that Rasheeda wasn't done yet. The real bombshell. She still had evidence no one had seen. And when she dropped it, the entire Frost brand might crumble beyond repair. And just like that, the Frost legacy is hanging by the thinnest thread imaginable, in less than 24 hours. What started as whispers about a hidden bank account has exploded into a full-blown scandal, complete with alleged affairs, secret pregnancies, offshore money trails, and a marriage that might finally have reached its breaking point. Rasheeda has made it clear she's not playing defense anymore. She's taking control of the narrative. One Instagram post at a time. Fans are split. Friends are quietly choosing sides. And even people who've never cared about the Frosts are now glued to their phones, waiting for the next chapter. But the biggest question isn't whether this marriage can survive. It's what's still hiding in the shadows. Because if the rumors about those other accounts are true, and if Rasheeda really has receipts, then we might just be looking at the biggest love and hip-hop fallout of all time. And remember, we've seen the Frosts survive cheating scandals, public breakups, and explosive reunions. But nothing like this. So now, it's over to you. What do you think really went down behind those closed doors? Was Kirk planning an escape route? Or is this just one massive misunderstanding that spiraled out of control? Could this be the end of Rasheeda and Kirk, or will they somehow find a way to patch things up for the cameras? Drop your thoughts in the comments right now, because this story is still breaking, and you better believe we'll be bringing you every messy detail as it happens. If you don't want to miss the next shocking twist, hit that like button, smash the subscribe, and turn on your notifications so you're the first to know when the next bomb drops. Trust me, this drama is far from over, and you're not going to want to hear about it from anyone else.